There's a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings happiness, companionship, peace of mind, success, and health. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why spirituality rocks. Welcome. I'm your host, Janine Burns. We are live, Deer Park, Long Island, at the Madhouse TV studios. I'm an interfaith chaplain. I provide spiritual services to people who don't belong to a temple or house of worship, people who call themselves spiritual but not religious. I hold my credentials with Emerson Theological Institute, and I belong to the New Thought denomination. New Thought teaches the presence and power of God within all of life everywhere. We teach that our thoughts, our attitudes, and our beliefs, that our thoughts and beliefs will draw and attract people, circumstances, and events into our lives. And we also teach that God is a loving God. We do not teach that God is a punitive God. And what's so wonderful about New Thought, not only do we teach that we co-create with God, but we know that when our thoughts are in alignment with the power within, that we can break free from lack and limitation and negativity and really choose to live a life that is joy-filled and powerful. Today I have joining me two fabulous guests. I'm very excited. I have my buddy from Charlotte, North Carolina, the Reverend Renee LeBoa from the Spiritual Living Center of Charlotte. And in the studio I have with me Charles Wallet, record producer, and we're going to get to them after the break. But right now I want to tell you a story. It's a true story of an old man in the late 1800s in Northern Virginia. He sat in the snow and he was waiting to cross the river. His beard was glazed with frost and his body was numb from the cold. He heard the faint, steady rhythm of horse hoofs, and they were approaching, galloping along the frozen path. And he was very anxious because he wanted to get across the pond. As he watched the horsemen rounding the bend, he let the first one pass without any effort to get his attention. Then another passed by. Finally, the last rider neared the spot where the old man was sitting like a statue in the snow. And as this one drew near, the old man caught the rider's eye and he said, "Sir, would you mind giving an old man a ride to the other side? There doesn't appear to be any passageway by foot." Reining the horse, the rider replied, "Sure thing, hop aboard." And seeing that the old man was unable to lift his half-frozen body from the ground, the horseman dismounted and he helped the old man onto the horse. The horseman took the man not only just across the river, but to his destination, which was a few miles away. The horseman was curious and he said, "Sir, I noticed that you let several other riders pass by without making any effort to secure a ride. Then I came upon you and immediately asked me for a ride. I'm curious why on such a really cold and bitter night would you wait and ask for the last rider? What if I had refused you and left you there?" The old man replied, "I looked into your eyes. And when I looked into the eyes of the other riders, I immediately saw that there was no concern for my situation. It would have been useless for me to even ask them to help me. But I looked into your eyes. I saw kindness. I saw compassion. They were evident. And I knew then and there that your gentle spirit would welcome the opportunity to give me assistance in my time of need." Those heartwarming comments touched the horseman very deeply. And he said, "I'm most grateful what you've said to me. And may I never get too busy in my own affairs that I fail to respond to the needs of others with kindness and compassion." And with that, Thomas Jefferson, President of the United States, turned his horse around and made his way back to the White House. Great story, isn't it? You see, when you're loving, it radiates from your eyes. This is how you can really be the light of the world. Literally, you can let your light shine. To paraphrase Emerson, he said, "Who you are thunders so loudly, I can't even hear what you say." Because you see, we each have a mental atmosphere around us. It is made up of our thoughts, our beliefs, our attitudes. And so ask yourself, what is your mental attitude? Is it one of loving? Is it one of caring? Is it one of compassion? Is it one of interest and concern? Is it one of respect and support? Because people know who you are just by looking in your eyes. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of the philosophy of science of mind, which is one of the New Thought denomination, he said in his book, 10 Ideas That Make a Difference, we must come to realize that at the base of everyone's life, there's a sincere desire to love and be loved. Thus, the most valuable thing that any one of us can do is to be a little more certain each day that we're meeting life with a greater sense of love. It's often said that only as we come to know and love ourselves can we truly, powerfully, radiantly express knowledge and love in our world. And the world is hungry for it. The world is hungry for your wisdom. The world is hungry for love expressing in you, through you, and as you. And as you learn to live in love day by day, and with ourselves, with others, this is the most essential task in our lives, to love and be loved. Simply be love. Be at peace with all that is, and know you are the beloved. Ernest Holmes wrote another book called A New Design for Living, and in it he said, it would seem to be fundamental fact that love is the basic reality of life. This would in turn give rise to a firm conviction that God is love. God, creative intelligence, depends upon his creation for expression, and the expression depends upon God for its existence. So God could never stop creating or loving, neither can God's creation, which is you and I, cease loving or expressing God without limiting its experience of the source. And so you can't limit spirit, but you can limit your choice of expression. And so in the mind of man, we find the only created thing which can consciously deprive itself of accepting loves. And when you do that, the results are disastrous. So it's a choice. It's a choice to simply be love, because there is no disaster out of which love cannot create a recovery. Simply by returning to love, we return to our innate selves. Our true nature is love. Our direct inheritance from God is love. Love is the glue that holds the universe together. Our other direct inheritance from God is divine wisdom. You will always have whatever idea that you need or require to meet your goals, to experience peace and ease and freedom and joy in your lives. I repeat, it's our true nature is love. So be love. It is what you are. It is what you are here to express. Love. This is the absolute truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And we will be back right after this commercial break with more of Spirituality Rocks, and we'll be talking about love.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divine.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn?
Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure.
You'll be happy you did.
Like so many people, are your finances tight lately? Afraid to open your mail or even answer your phone? Well, take heart. You don't have to live like that. If you're 62 or older and own your own home, you can join the thousands of folks who have used safe and effective government-insured reverse mortgages. The government-insured reverse mortgages from Long Island's Senior Reverse Network allow you to stay in your home and turn equity into tax-free cash. Our government-insured reverse mortgages can eliminate mortgage payments, credit card balances, or just improve your lifestyle. Do yourself a favor and solve these problems now. Call the Senior Reverse Network, and our advisors will answer all of your questions about our reverse mortgage programs. We've helped scores of senior Long Island homeowners like you who now enjoy a worry-free retirement. Get the financial security and peace of mind you've dreamed about. Pick up the phone and call us at the Senior Reverse Network now to set up a free consultation.
Call 1-800-985-REVERSE. That's 1-800-985-7383.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware.
We have 3 of the largest showrooms of safes on display and in stock. You can see and touch them in person instead of browsing a catalog. We carry gun and rifle safes, burglary safes, jewelry safes, fire rated from a half hour to 2 hour. Famous name brands.
We sell Gardol.
We sell AMSAC.
The new AMSAC touchscreen.
If you're ever in need of a safe, think Brooklyn's best locksmith and hardware. Right, Lockie?
That's right, Alan.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host. I am the Reverend Dr. Janine Burns with the Guiding Light Foundation. Guiding Light Foundation is a 501c3 not-for-profit spiritual organization. Our mission is to teach you about the power within you. We have a couple of tools for that. If you send us a self-addressed stamped envelope to Post Office Box 472, that's Woodbury, New York, 11797, we will send you a spiritual prescription. And if you want it on a particular topic, we're happy to do that, and we will also send you affirmations. We send this material to you for free because we know that you must give to receive. That's the nature of spirit. Spirit is constantly giving, so you must give to receive. We're happy to send that to you. Also, if you hear the music during the bumpers, they're called, during the commercial break, that's from my CD, Tunes for Transformation. The CD is $12, postage included. You can go to tunesfortransformation.com and you can purchase it there, or you can go to youarethelight.org and you can look for it there. All righty, let's get busy with this juicy show I have for you today. In the studio, I have with me Charles Wallert, who is a record producer. He's produced George Benson and O.C. Smith and Amanda Holly, and the list goes on and on. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Janine. Nice to be here. Good to see you again, and I love your show, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much. And on Skype, we have the fabulous, genius, brilliant, one of my partners in crime, so to speak, the Reverend Renee LeBoa. Reverend Renee is from the Spiritual Living Center of Charlotte. She is just an amazing woman. She has so many talents. You can check her out on YouTube. She's a fantastic inspirational speaker. She is a singer, and she's a comedian and soon-to-be author. So welcome to the show, Reverend Renee.
Thank you, sweetheart. I'm so happy to be here.
We are thrilled to have you. We are just thrilled to have you. And so I have a couple of things I wanted to address today. First of all, I'd love this to be conversational, and so please just jump in at any time. Renee, I don't think that you know, I met Charles 28 years ago. We had a spiritual community on Long Island, and one day the lady just shut it down. She just closed the thing down. So, gave all the money away and this and that, and that was Sunday, and then she did that on Tuesday and called me and said, that's it, no more spiritual center. And I called up Charles and I said, we have no spiritual center. Remember that?
Yes, and I said, what do you mean we have no spiritual center? And Janine said, well, who's going to run it? I said, you. And we convened a meeting at my home of the people who wanted to participate, and Janine took it to another level and kept going from there.
Yeah, at some point we had quite the crankin' and rockin' spiritual community. And at that time I was a practitioner and I finally got ordained, but yeah, that was a long time ago and that was a lot of fun. We do spiritual community like you do, Reverend Renee. We have lots of music and we had guest speakers and it was really fantastic. So now the last time I saw you was this past summer in July in Phoenix. We were at the International New Thought Alliance conference. And I got to sing backup to Reverend Renee.
Oh,
Wow.
I don't know if you should
All
be
these
a backup
singers.
singer. You've got an amazing voice.
Oh, well, that's
amazing
very nice.
voice.
Thank you, thank you. So
Yeah.
tell us, what have you been up to, Reverend Renee?
I've been up to a lot. I'm in the process of recreating myself or expanding again. I just can never just stay put. And so I've got my fingers in a whole lot of things. I'm creating new programs for women in prison and women in recovery. I have a new like empowerment series that I'm kicking off for women and creating this movement, if you will. And I'm working on a one-woman show. One's going to be play-like with music, and one is a comedic show. I'm working on the book, which is time-consuming all in itself. And, of course, then running the church. And I'm on conference committees, and I'm just loving life.
And so how are you walking through this? That sounds like your plate is really full. How do you manage to juggle and get everything done and still keep your peace of mind?
I have a really strong spiritual practice, and I have a faith that is pretty strong and is unshakable. And when I feel the download, the spirit move through me, I know that I'm heading in the right direction. And when I'm doing what I love, I have endless energy. Endless energy.
Isn't that true? I think it was Deepak Chopra who said that. That's where you find your bliss. When you're doing what you love to do, you're in the groove and you have bliss. Yeah. And what have you been up to, Charles?
Well, we're in development for a book and movie about the life and times of O.C. Smith and our times together. It's called...
Now, I wonder if the audience knows O.C. Smith. God didn't make little green apples and it don't rain in Indianapolis.
Well, that was the only song in history ever to win the Grammy for Song of the Year in 2 different categories. Could never happen again. They changed the rules. And it beat out a couple of songs you might have heard of, Hey Jude by the Beatles.
Oh, wow.
And Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh.
But down in the Carolinas, in Reverend Renee's part, he's known for the #1 all-time beach music song, Brenda.
Oh.
And O.C. Smith was a reverend in the Science of Mind. He had a beautiful church, the City of Angels. And so we're doing a wonderful book about his life because some things are known about it, but what I find makes an interesting story is the things that are not known. And in the synchronicity of our lives and paths that cross, you're going to read about some of the most famous people, especially of the baby boomer age, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Joe Namath, Phil Spector, all who had something to do with our lives at some point, and he was a fabulous man. Janine, you knew him.
Sure.
And were in his company, and after he passed, his legacy was celebrated for 9 years at O.C. Smith Day in Myrtle Beach, and I was very honored when Reverend Janine came down and told her personal experiences about him. Also, we have a single on George Benson, The One for Me, where he's not playing guitar, he's singing, and George is a great singer. You can check that out on YouTube. And the young, fabulous, beautifully talented Amanda Holly, who, by the way, really resonates with these principles, Reverend Gina, and I know you had a few phone conversations. So that's got the plate pretty full, and it's always all about music, and music that's meaningful. I like great songs.
Like meaningful music, yeah.
Yes, and I also, we, as you know, we attended Dr. Grayson's 3rd year together, First Church of Religious Science. There's a wonderful center for spiritual living with the Reverend Loretta Brooks that meets on Sundays at Manhattan on 63rd at the Y, and is a lot of Dr. Grayson's students there. So if you resonate with what Reverend Dr. Janine says, and Renee, and you're in the New York metropolitan area, I urge you to come.
Okay, thank you. That's
You're
great.
welcome.
You said something, and I think there's a lot of people who resonate with the spiritual principles as taught by New Thought. Now, we make a distinction. New Thought is not New Age. New Thought teaches the presence and power of God within. New Age uses a lot of tools and avenues to get there, and I do not discount New Age, but I always think, well, what happens if I leave my tarot card homes or my crystals home or whatever? I want to always know that I can go within and connect to the presence and power of God within. I think there's so many people, Reverend Renee, who naturally resonate with what we teach, with the values and the principles we teach, but don't really know that there is a spiritual denomination that matches it.
Right. They watch Oprah, they watch Wayne Dyer, they see people on TV, and they're like, oh, they're wonderful, but they have no idea that what they're talking about is exactly what we're teaching in our centers. And what I love about our centers is they're so perfect for the people who have maybe gotten a bad taste in their mouth for fundamental religion, and they've walked away from the idea of a higher power or God or spirit or whatever you want to call it. And when they come to our centers, they're able, I find, to have a different connection and to get themselves back into a spiritual practice. And like you said, we're spiritual, we're not religious.
Spiritual, we're not religious. And if you Google that, you'll see, I believe it's 33% of the families in the United States call themselves that. Mm-hmm. And even when I do my work, I do a lot of celebration of life memorial services on Long Island, and people call themselves spiritual but not religious, so that's very common. Right. But that's one thing that's disturbing to me, is that when people watch certain TV personalities, or they watch things that are spiritual in nature, I'm not sure if they really connect with the spirit, because positive thinking can fail you, but spirit, God, can never fail you. And so a lot of times people are taught techniques, they're taught goal setting, they're taught creative visualization, make a vision board and put on pictures of what you want to have in your life. They're taught to say affirmations, and which is the law of attraction, and many people do that, but they leave out that component.
Well, Reverend Janine, Reverend Renee, you made a good point. You expounded on it. I thought of an analogy I'd like to use with that. It's football season now. We have millions of people that love football. And they turn on the TV for game day, and they see Peyton Manning throwing touchdowns and for yards and winning games, and Drew Brees filling up the field. Well, those people don't just do that on game day. There's work, and there's practice, and there's a commitment to achieve that excellence of success. And the same thing that a Wayne Dyer might say, or a Gary Zukav, it's not what I call the rabbit's foot theory that a lot of people like with a tarot card or superstition. It takes work, and it's a principle, but it's the hardest thing not to do if you abandon it. Because to get true spiritual participation and get the results with the foundation, it takes an understanding of the principles that this wonderful teaching helps us with.
Okay, so let's talk about what some of those principles are, because we just bandy around the word principle, I'm not sure that our viewers are really going to get it. How do we define principle? What are some principles? Renee, let's give it to Renee. Let's toss it to Renee.
Well, there's laws in the universe that cannot be denied. Just like electricity and gravity. I mean, they work all the time. They are not going to fail. They're there. And it's the same with our mind. We are energetic beings. And so everything that we are, our life shows us exactly what we are and what our beliefs are. And our thoughts draw to us life just like magnets. And so that is one of the principles. And so when we can learn to understand the way that we think, why we think the way we think. Unlike therapy. Therapy is digging into it and getting really down in there, but it's about recognizing the thought pattern and deciding if you want to continue that thought pattern. It's just really that simple, this or that, this or that, this or that. And for me, these tools have been so absolutely instrumental in redirecting my life and changing my life. And it's not, what people don't understand, because they call it positive thinking, is that life still happens, but what you have with this teaching is you have tools in your tool chest that allow you to navigate through the rough waters of life in a completely different way. And you look at it as, you kind of lean into it as if this is for me. This is for my soul's growth. This is for my spiritual evolution.
Yeah, yes, and new thought, a basic fundamental principle of new thought is there is one presence and power, God the good, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, and omniaction. So it's all good and it's all God. And then people say, well, if it's all good and it's all God, then how come all these terrible things can happen in the world? Well, man and woman, you know, we have individual choice. And Reverend Renee, are you still with us? Oh, we locked up Reverend Renee. So we have individual choice. So it's up to us to make some choices. And so what I think the most critical thing is for us to do is to get an understanding of a God, a new understanding of God, not the traditional anthropomorphic God up in the sky who's doing something to us, but we're talking about the presence and power of God that expresses in us, through us, and out us. Alrighty, we're having a little technical difficulty, so I'm going to just clip over to a commercial break, so we'll be right back with Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely.
When your cable's on the fritz, you get frustrated. When you get frustrated, your daughter imitates. When your daughter imitates, she gets thrown out of school. When she gets thrown out of school, she meets undesirables. When she meets undesirables, she ties the knot with undesirables. And when she ties the knot with undesirables, you get a grandson with a dog collar. Don't have a grandson with a dog collar. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. When your cable company keeps you on hold, you get angry. When you get angry, you go blow off steam. When you go blow off steam, accidents happen. When accidents happen, you get an eye patch. When you get an eye patch, people think you're tough. When people think you're tough, people want to see how tough. And when people want to see how tough, you wake up in a roadside ditch. Don't wake up in a roadside ditch. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. When you pay too much for cable, you throw things. When you throw things, people think you have anger issues. When people think you have anger issues, your schedule clears up. When your schedule clears up, you grow a scraggly beard. When you grow a scraggly beard, you start taking in stray animals. And when you start taking in stray animals, you can't stop taking in stray animals. Stop taking in stray animals. Get rid of cable and upgrade to DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
Welcome to Formula Auto Wash, where every day is a great day for a car wash. Open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. Sundays 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. Detailing packages for every budget, starting out at $29.99. 100% hand wash and detail centre. Hog's hair and microfiber brushes and mitts. Proudly using Ecolab Blue Coral soaps and waxes. Formula Auto Wash has served the community for over 30 years. Senior discounts all day, every day. Ladies' Day Wednesday, $3 off any wash. Early bird discount Monday through Thursday till 9:30 a.m. Check out our website, formulaautowash.com.
Dad, where do babies come from?
Well, there's Dad's big, shiny rocket ship. That's right, it's filled with babies of all kinds. And when the shiny rocket ship penetrates, Mommy and Dad goes, and when the time is just right, there's a space launch.
All systems go.
Babies of all kinds, released all over the place. Yeah, Africa. Mommy's Babylandia. That's right, it's filled with babies. After an amazing 9 months, babies. And that, son, is where babies come from.
But Jake said babies come from
Planet Babylandia.
You know, play with us on the bus.
Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
wheels on the bus go round and round all through the town.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns. We have in the studio with us Charles Wallert, record producer, and on Skype we have the Reverend Renee LeBoa of the Spiritual Living Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. We just had a little bit of technical difficulties, but everything's all set now. And Reverend Renee, just before the commercial break, I was saying that people have to redefine God. That God is not the anthropomorphic being that we're taught in traditional religion, that we're talking about a presence and power of God that is all around us, that expresses through us. And so please talk about that for a moment.
Well, I can talk about my personal experience. When I first came into this teaching, I believed that I was agnostic. I didn't really believe in a God based on my life. And so when I came to this teaching, I was prove it to me. I was like, show it to me. And so when they talked about the scientific proof of energy and universe and matter and physics and all that kind of stuff, and that prayer could be proven, it piqued my interest. And so that got me interested again in the idea that there was something out there that moved in and through all of life. And what awakened me to it really was nature. I watched nature and I saw the magic and the mystery of how everything seemed to move with grace and ease, and how everything was connected. There was this connectedness. And then I started noticing how humans are connected, and how our thoughts become connected, and how really, if we were to take in, we could spray the air around us, we would see that there's this energy that overlaps in each and every one of us. And so when I started looking at it from a scientific point of view, my idea about God began to change. That, of course, it was not a man in the sky or some place that I had to look up. And I realized that that idea that the master teacher Jesus talked about, is that we were made in the likeness and image. What I got from that was that the consciousness, and that, wow, that idea that is within me. And if I can understand my place in the universe, then anything is possible through this expression. And so I began to study the master teachers and realize that we are all that expression of God made flesh, if you will.
Right. And in New Thought, we talk a lot about spiritual practice. We talk about taking time daily to just meditate, just close your eyes, follow your breathing, just as much as possible, let your thoughts just go and be still. And as we're still, we can really tune into the voice of God and allow that power. We talk about affirmative prayer. We don't beg, cajole, or plead to God outside of us, but we connect with the power within, and we speak in an affirmative manner. We also talk about affirmations. We talk about creativity. And so there's so many spiritual practices that we can employ to really shift and change our lives. I'd like to shift gears a little bit, because there's something that you say, and I actually recall hearing you say this last year as well, but Reverend Renee says, it's never too late to be what you might have been. I love that. It's
like that.
Never too late to be what you might have been.
If anyone has read the book, The Man Who Tapped the Secrets of the Universe, Walter Russell, I suggest you do. This man at 50, he decided to be 50 plus, decided to ice skate. He went to the Olympics. And then at 70, he decided to sculpt. And it's absolutely true. And I just would like to add one thing about principle. Positive thinking. It's not about positive thinking. It's about positive believing. As Dr. Stuart Grayson used to say, thought/feeling. You could say all the affirmations you want. If you don't believe it and embody that feeling. And Reverend Renee, you brought up Jesus. Well, I find this teaching totally correlates what he was and what he did.
Yes.
Affirmative prayer. He didn't say, oh, Lazarus, come on out. Come on, it's getting kind of late, come on, do it. because he believed. He was so connected to that one power. And Reverend Janine had a show last week of something I've never heard. They said the conscious mind just came into being 3,000 years ago. Very interesting theory.
Well, that was a theory, right.
But a very interesting theory, considering that Jesus came along around 2,000 years ago. So it was just, this teaching embodies the balance of both. And Reverend Renee, you also said something about your place in the universe, knowing that that's not isolated and connected. So I believe the believing and really reinforcing our belief. Look at what are we believing about ourselves, about our world.
Right, right. Well, good. Okay. Well, you know what? I'd like Renee to comment specifically on it's never too late to be what you might have been, because I know you've talked about that, and you talked before about reinventing yourself.
Yes, I have totally reinvented myself, and it was this teaching that allowed me to do that. My start in life was rough and rocky. I'm a recovering drug addict. I used drugs for almost half of my life. I was on the streets at 15. The last grade of schooling I actually had was 8th grade. They graduated me illiterate. And so this was the start that I had. And I was in my 30s when I tried to take my life because I was a screaming master meth addict. And it was this teaching that changed my entire life. I was clean 2 weeks, and I went and visited a friend in New York City, and he took me to my very first Science of Mind church. And I sat there and wept through the entire service when I heard them speaking. And what it was that I realized there's a place out there. These people, they are talking about their religion I thought I made up. And so I saw on a desk one time, it was very, very shortly right after I became clean and sober, and it said, it's never too late to be what you might have been. And it was in that moment that I began using the principles of this teaching and believing that my innate being was good, magnificent, and divine. And I decided to shut the door on the beliefs that I had up until that moment, and that who I was before that moment did not matter. And I was going to use everything, every life lesson I had to be a presence in this world and a light in someone else's life. So that's kind of the foundation of my ministry. Is it's never too late to be what you might have been. Is that if I can change, anybody can change. Let me show you how to do it through using these principles.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. And you've just developed yourself in so many ways.
Yes.
I mean, you're just an amazing singer. Tommy, do we have that YouTube clip? We're going to see if we can. We're on TV, and so we can have difficulties. But Reverend Renee has this beautiful song that she sent to me. We're going to try to put that up right now, and if not, we're going to ask her to sing live.
Uh-oh.
So let's go to the videotape.
All the colors of the rainbow, all the voices of the wind, every dream that reaches out to find where love begins. Every word of every story, every star in every sky, every corner of creation lives to testify. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love. I'll be a witness in the silences when words are not enough. With every breath I take, we'll give thanks to God above. For as long as I shall live, I will testify to love.
Oh, here we are with Spirituality Rocks. That was the Reverend Renee LeBoa, the Spiritual Living Center of Charlotte. Renee, that song, who wrote that song? It was beautiful.
Well, I don't know actually who wrote it. I've got like a bunch of different inputs about that, but Judd sang it on.
Okay.
I think she sang it on one of those shows, and I was like, I love that song. So, and really, I recorded it because a woman that I was working with in hospice, she requested it, and so that's why I recorded it.
Tell me, what's the name of your CD, and how can the people get a copy of it?
I have 2 CDs. One is called The Rhythm of Life. The most recent one is Here's Where I Stand. They can go to, they can email me. My website is under construction. It should be up within a couple of weeks. But they can email me at renee@slccharlotte.com.
Yeah, and that's a banner that we can have across the bottom of the screen for the people to see that. And so the name of the 2 CDs again, please?
The Rhythm of Life and Here's Where I Stand.
Rhythm of Life and Here's Where I Stand. Okay, that's absolutely beautiful. Excellent.
Thank you.
And so I'm going to invite us to switch gears one more time.
Okay.
And we opened the show, and I talked about love coming out through your eyes, and people can see who you are, and you just happened to offer up that song, Testify to Love. And so I'd like to invite you as our special guest, if you could do a brief affirmative prayer treatment on divine love and right action.
I would love to. So as I close my eyes, I center myself in the knowing that I live and breathe and have my being in an infinite universe filled and overflowing with love. For there is only one presence. I know this presence as God, as spirit, as mind, and as law and action. And so I know that there is a divine presence that is love, that permeates and moves and has its being in and through every human being on this planet. And I send out love through the vibration of my breath and my heartbeat to all those who suffer and who have forgotten their divine connection to that source of all life. And I claim right here and right now that there is a healing taking place across this planet by way of this vibration of love. And because there is 3 of us joined together in this idea, I know that it is magnified and the vibration is felt through the air, through the breath. And so I just give absolute heartfelt thanks for the knowing that love is all there is. Love is all there will ever be, for it is that energy of complete creation. I release this back into that loving mind from which it came, knowing that my word has power. And for everyone listening and tuning in tonight, please take these words as your own, as you anchor it in your own life, knowing that love is present and it is magnifying in every area of your life. I am so grateful for this opportunity to be here tonight and for this opportunity to speak a word of love, as I know my word has power. And please join me in anchoring this by saying, and so it is.
And
so it is. Woohoo! Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo! One of my jingles on my CD, Tunes for Transformation, you may have heard it. It goes, I'm lovable, loving, and loved. I'm lovable, loving, and loved. I am a channel for the expression of infinite divine love. And what I love about jingles, what I love about affirmations to music, and you know, when you sing a song, you hear a song on the radio or something, you hear it in the morning, it plays throughout your mind the whole day because all of life is in rhythm and movement. So I love singing positive songs or singing prayers, singing affirmations, and just any kind of music is in that genre. And I know, Charles, you produce music that's all about love as a record producer.
Yes, and love in a romantic way, but certainly love. And I remember after hearing Dr. Grayson speak, I was so moved. I wrote a song called Understand. But coming from a traditional religion, I had a verse in there that said, understand the power from above. And that does not coincide with our teaching. And I said to you back then, I said, that doesn't coincide. And you said no, and then I got it. understand the power we're made of.
Are you sure I didn't change those words?
I didn't give you writer credit, so statute of limitations.
I think I changed those words.
Well, anyway,
No,
you were instrumental, and there's another song, if you look up Cuba Gooding, that he sang at the first inauguration,
Oh, yes.
Never Give Up.
Yeah.
That's Cuba Gooding Sr.,
Right.
the voice of the main ingredient. Everybody plays
Right, the
before
band, the main
father of the
ingredient.
actor,
Right.
A song, Never Give Up. And yes, I won't do negative songs anymore, and O.C. Smith was like that. I'm not doing that, what we used to call the suicide set. You know, you broke my heart, my dog died, now I cry.
Oh!
No, it's all about affirmative and yes,
Well,
because
you know,
love.
what you think about, you bring about. Thoughts
Yeah,
held in
so,
mind, produce
exactly.
after their kind. You can go on with those. But I see it is time for a commercial break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more with Charles Wallet, record producer, and the lovely Reverend Renee LeBoa of the Spiritual Living Center in Charlotte. And so we'll be back in a little bit with more of Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am
Stop the truck! Stop the truck! Thank you.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn?
Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act One will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure.
You'll be happy you did.
This is Beth.
Hi.
Oh, congratulations. When are you due?
I'm not pregnant.
Oh, look at that. Excuse me.
You're totally thin.
You look very sexy.
For life's bleachable moments, all it takes is 3/4 of a cup.
peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Janine Burns, in the studio with record producer Charles Wallert, and on Skype with the lovely Reverend Renee LeBoa of the Spiritual Living Center of Charlotte, North Carolina. Reverend Renee and I are on a committee together. We are on a committee to plan the conference called Sacred Awakenings, Pray and Play in Divine Nature. This conference, if you want to learn more about New Thought, you want to connect with people who are just loving, encouraging, and supportive in the most beautiful environment, it's going to be held in Simpson Wood, Georgia. And there's been a banner that's been running across the screen here and there, www.newthought.org, www.newthought.org. And what you can do is you can go on there and you can check out the conference brochure that is there. You can register for the conference. It's from April 7th through the 11th. I invite you to be there and come and play. Now, there's the maximum is 150 people. So if you're interested in going, check it out. You can call the headquarters and find out more information. Right on the website there, you can see who our speakers are going to be. We're going to be having Mark Anthony Lord. We have David Auld. We have Edwin Gaines. Dr. Barbara King is going to be with us. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic conference. And of course, Reverend Renee and I are both going to be there. What's your favorite thing about the conference, Renee?
I just love the intimacy. I love the joy and the community that is created through this conference, and just the family atmosphere. It feels like camp for adults, spiritual camp for adults.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's just fantastic.
I've been going every year for over 20 years, and that's why I go. It's family, extended
Yes.
family, spiritual family, however you want to call it. But the people are so accepting and they're so loving and supportive. So mental note, Charles, put that on your calendar.
Got it.
Yeah, we'd love to see you there.
Well, you know, Barbara King, she used to stay at O.C. Smith's house when she would come to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Oh, she's Bishop, the Bishop
Oh,
Barbara
now she's
King.
a bishop, that's right.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
We got a letter in the mail here to see her get on the show soon. I want to tell the people what's coming up on Spirituality Rocks. And you know, you can't say Spirituality Rocks, Reverend Renee, without spirituality. Right, exactly. We have Reverend Renee on the, we can split the screen, you know. It could be you and me, Reverend Renee. Spirituality Rocks. And so Dennis Merritt Jones is on next week. I'm so
I love him.
Who doesn't love him? He is such a prolific writer, and you can get on his email list. It's amazing. And we're going to be featuring two of his books. With me is going to be the Reverend Barbara Grimminger of the Center for Spiritual Living in Hicksville, Long Island, New York. And then the following week is the holiday. We're going to have a rerun show. We're going to have Dr. Harry Morgan Moses is going to be on. And then the next week, we're going to be doing Real Love. Now, are you a Real Love practitioner? Did you study Real? You are. Well, we're doing Real Love with Greg Baer. And,
Fantastic.
But no, with Dr. Frank Zummalin is going to be on the show. Greg Baer is the author of the book Real Love. And that's going to be, I'm really looking forward to that show. Subsequent to that, we are going to have a show on angels with Reverend Barbara Gold-Branson. And then Dr. Mary Tumpkin, the president of the Universal Foundation for Better Living, one of my longtime buds, who I called her, I said, Mary, come on, be on my show. And she's like, I'm your bud, whatever you want, I'm doing it for you. So I was so excited about that. So mark your calendar, everybody, for these exciting events. And now we just have like 4 or 5 minutes left in the show. I want to tell everybody, please donate, contribute to the show. If you do contribute to the show, donations start at $25. We're going to put your name up on the screen. They go up to $1,500 where you get your very own commercial. And so you can call me about that. You can reach me through any of my websites. My cell phone number is 516-909-0103, 516-909-0103. You can call me about that. I also want you to know that you can get your spiritual prescription. We have that available for you when we have the CD. So, Charles, if you were to give a parting word to our guests about New Thought and practical spirituality, what is something that you would like the people to know?
Well, in combining it all together, one of the things that all the great minds have in common, singularly, if not nothing else, spiritual philosophy, is live in the now, because that's all we have. So everything that is done is in the now, and focus on the now.
Okay. And what is your favorite New Thought book?
Right now I'm reading a book that's, just finished a book that is very challenging. It's called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And for you students of this teaching, if you really want to challenge yourself and take it to the next level, read it and work with it. It will take you there.
The Untethered Soul. Woohoo! Reverend Renee, what's your favorite New Thought book?
It's still the Science of Mind textbook. I reread it all the time. I love that book. Love that book.
It's a nice tome. Well, my favorite is this thing called You.
Yes.
And I love that book because what I like about it is that there's so many sections in italics that are affirmative prayers, and you can just say, okay, God, what do I need to know? Or, you know, this is what's on my plate today, and open it up, and you have an affirmative prayer.
Right.
We have about a minute left, and so in that time, Reverend Renee, what would you like to leave with the people? What is something you'd like them to know?
Yesterday ended last night. Close the chapter on the story that you've been telling yourself, unless it is an affirmative, life-giving thought. You are more magnificent than you can possibly imagine. Your light shines into the eyes of everyone you meet. And I know this to be the absolute truth of who you are. So if you are not living to the fullest extent, know that today is your day. If not now, when?
Woo, what a fantastic note to lead the show on. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell your friends about Spirituality Rocks. If you want to have some guests on the show, you want to be on a guest on the show, get in contact with us. We'd love to have you. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Spirituality Rocks.